Time now to welcome in an expert, a guy who's been very busy the last couple of weeks.
Sure
as
has.
Free agency is played out. Got to bring in Jordan Schultz, who joins us again, Fox Sports NFL Insider. He's joining us with the video feed today. Jordan, how we doing?
Guys, doing well. Thank you.
Great to see you again.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on.
I just want you to know that this is a hashtag Team Schultz program. I just want you to know that.
We're Team Schultz.
We are Team
100%.
Schultz.
I
And
agree.
And six times in one program, Zoe called rap sheet a word that I don't even want to repeat.
Pussy.
He used
there you go.
He used that word 6 times in one show.
Well, I mean, when you call for, like, if there wasn't going to be a throwdown.
6 times.
But then, like, the part that bugged me after the fact, like, whatever happened during this, we're not even having you on to really discuss it.
No,
We could if you want.
Yeah, but we're having fun with
But,
it.
like, after the fact, that day, the next day, everybody's having fun with the little clips. And, yeah, he's having fun joking with it. Wasn't so funny when you're in the middle of it, were you?
Yeah, tough guy. Yeah.
Now that you got the backing for everybody.
Yeah. Calling the league.
Call the cops. Yeah.
Anyway, you don't have to say anything.
Yeah,
we
don't
said
say
it
it.
for you.
We say it for
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Jordan, tell us about what's kind of played out with receivers in free agency, because here in New England, that's the big disappointment, that the Patriots haven't been able to land anything other than Mac Hollins. And we've heard a lot about how they were in on Godwin. But of the guys who are left, let me add this in. Is there any chance they pick up one of these older veteran guys that are still kind of lingering out there?
Yeah, it's been a really tough veteran wide receiver market. They really wanted T. Higgins. They were in on Godwin. They have been in on a lot of guys, but being in on someone and landing them are two very different things. You mentioned some of the veteran wide receivers still left, Amari Cooper, Brandon Cooks, Keenan Allen. There are guys still available. The question becomes, if you're the Patriots and you're Elliott Wolf and Ryan Cowden, are you looking at the draft, and do you have one or two guys that you identify as real transcendent type of players? Or do you feel like you have to get a veteran now, which I think they need to do regardless? Even if they look at the draft and they say, we like this guy, we love this player, you still, in my opinion, need to go out and get a proven guy. And I don't know if that is an Amari Cooper or a Cooks or a Keenan Allen, but you need to get someone that has had professional success. And Matt Collins is a good player, but if you're Drake May, you're looking at your roster right now and you see Jalen Polk, a good young player, but you don't have an established veteran. And so I just would love to go out, if I'm New England, and get one of these guys that has consistently been productive in the league. And so that's to me priority number one, because you've obviously addressed many other positions, but you still haven't really addressed the most important position, which is finding help for your franchise quarterback.
Is there anybody out there for a trade? Like I know you mentioned some of the guys that are still floating, the Amari Coopers, and I've mentioned Brandon Cooks before. But like the wide receiver room was so bad last year. There was no veteran leadership to what you're talking about. And there's nobody that affects coverage when you break the huddle.
The trade would have been, they even looked at Ayuk last year. They looked at Debo. I mentioned Higgins. To me, I can't think of anybody right now that comes to mind as a trade candidate. They could get, if they really wanted to get aggressive, they could probably find a trade, but then you're forcing it. And that's the last thing you want to do when you have a roster that has as many holes as they do. So it is essential to me that they go out and get someone. And even if it means paying a premium price, paying a tax. I mean, I look at what Carolina did, for example, in this free agency, and they probably may have overpaid a couple guys, but they got really good players. Look at New England with Milton Williams. Carolina thought they had Milton Williams. New England comes at a higher price, and they maybe overpaid him, but he's a really good player and he's going to help them. So pay the tax and go out and get an established guy. But no, I don't see a trade. One guy that I know has been mentioned is George Pickens. I know Pittsburgh wants to keep him. They see him as a perfect, complement to DK Metcalf. So I would say no.
So Jordan, you mentioned Milton Williams. I want to throw two more names on there. Carlton Davis and Robert Spillane. Were all three of those players overpaid by the Patriots? Not that that's wrong. It is paying that tax, as you said. But is it fair to say that about all three of those big defensive signings?
Spillane's market, he got the best deal he would have gotten with the Pats, because I actually thought the Raiders were going to bring him back. They would have wanted to bring him back. New England paid the tax on him. But he's a guy that flies around the football, and culturally, I think he reminds me a lot of a younger Mike Vrabel, so it makes sense. Carlton Davis was really good for Detroit before he broke his jaw, and to me, he's a top-notch corner. So I'm good on that. And then Milton, they overpaid, and just in terms of Carolina was going to give him less. Carolina thought they had him, and then the Patriots paid a premium. So they probably overpaid two of the three guys, but you mentioned Carlton Davis. They really needed a compliment for Gonzo, and they got that really, to me, perfectly with Davis.
What about the left tackle position in Cam Robinson's market? Do you see the Patriots maybe getting involved there?
Yeah, Cam Robinson I thought would have signed by now. He's had two or three teams that have poked around at him. And is he the perfect long-term solution? No. He's over 30 years old, but he's basically a 10-year starter. And it's hard to find those guys. I think, in terms of finding like a left tackle that's going to be on the field and going to be productive, he's far and away the best option left. So they should look at Cam Robinson. And he's the kind of guy that even if you were to bring in for 1 year on a deal that was incentive laden and had a decent base, that helps Drake May. That helps the offense. That helps the running game. It just helps stabilize things. So they need to be in on Cam Robinson. And I would be very surprised if he's not signed by someone in the next 2 or 3 days here by the end of the week. And New England should be one of them.
When you say New England, what's the vibe on this team from a year ago?
The vibe is they still need a wide receiver. You're 100% right, but at least they have the number one thing that most teams want and covet, and many teams don't have, which is a franchise quarterback. Everyone believes that Drake May is the guy and will be the guy for the next decade plus. And they have the head coach, which is essential. They have a guy in Mike Vrabel who's taken Tennessee to unprecedented success and is a true New England legend and who desperately wanted to be back in New England. And so those are the two top priorities. They have it. They certainly still need a franchise left tackle, but the vibe is better than it was, significantly better than it was last year. And all due respect to Gerard Mayo, he was an unmitigated disaster. The culture was not good. He was not ready for the job. They did not double down and say, we'll give him another year. They moved on. They got their guy, and I think there's something to be said about that.
Jordan Schultz of Fox Sports with us. Jordan, you broke the big story the other night. Both receivers signing in Cincinnati, going back to the Bengals, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. What does that mean for Cincinnati moving forward in terms of the Hendrickson money in that situation, how they spend on their team, how they invest moving forward over the next few years?
Cincinnati, we've all kind of laughed at them and said they never spend money. They finally stepped up. They really did it. I wasn't sure, and there's the picture. I'm glad you put that up. I wasn't sure they were going to get there, but I was with T and Jamar Sunday night in Miami, and it was a momentous occasion. And I asked both of them, why was it so important to do this together? And they both said, we felt like we have something really special with Joe. We wanted to both remain Bengals. I didn't even know this, but T. Higgins grew up an A.J. Green and Bengal fan. I think everyone assumed Jamar would get done, but they weren't sure about T. And both get done. Both get 2 years fully guaranteed. In Jamar's case, 3.5 years, which is massive. But you asked about Trey Hendrickson as well. To me, I would say that he is not only the last piece they have to take care of, but now that they've done both receivers and obviously Joe a year ago, it would behoove them to just get Trey Hendrickson done. Now, I don't know if that's 1 year 30 or a multi-year deal. I know he was looking at somewhere in between 90 and 100 over 3. I don't know if he's going to get there, but he's now looking at the structure of Jamar and T and saying, okay, I need you to break precedent for me and give me 2 years guaranteed. So Cincinnati can still pay Trey Hendrickson. They could also still trade him. And that's not something I would rule out either. There's 2 or 3 teams that have been in the mix, and and that are willing to give up premium draft capital. Now, there's been debate of would a 2 get it done? Would a 3 get it done? You also have to, if you're getting Trey Hendrickson, now you got to pay him. So I'm not reporting this, but I do think better than 50-50 chance, I would surmise to say that they would try to get something done with Trey Hendrickson, given that they've now taken care of 3 of the 4, and that Joe has made it very clear he wants him back.
Obviously, the quarterback carousel still needs to be, finished with Aaron Rodgers finding his spot. But is there a chance here for the Patriots to find that wide receiver? Maybe it's a guy like Travis Hunter slipping to 4. Do you see a scenario where there could be 2 quarterbacks going in that top 3 to allow someone like Travis Hunter to fall?
So I do, but there's also a scenario in which I think everyone is assuming that Cam Ward goes 1, and Cleveland has made it clear. They did at the combine they were going to go quarterback, and now they've walked it back. So there is certainly a scenario, hypothetically, where the Browns don't take a quarterback at 2, and maybe the Giants don't go quarterback. Maybe they do go quarterback. Maybe it's Shedeur Sanders. But there is, to answer your question, a possibility that Hunter is there at 4 for New England. And that would be an incredible coup de grace for the Patriots, because he is, in my opinion, a generational prospect. It's not just that he can potentially play receiver and corner, but he's dominant at both. So even if you're getting one position, you have a package on the other position, that's worth the price of admission. So there is a possibility that he goes to New England. I would say that in talking to some teams, some clubs have Sanders as a bona fide top 5 pick, and some clubs say with Shedeur, there is a possibility that if he doesn't go in the top 8 or so, that he then could fall a little bit further, because Pittsburgh would be the next team that needs a quarterback, and not till 21. Now, I really like Shedeur Sanders, but if you're him, it's really essential that one of these teams early takes you, because there is a possibility that it could end up making you fall a little bit. I don't think out of the first round, but a little bit, and that is possible. And you asked about Aaron and Russell. I mean, everyone's waiting on these 2 guys. Rodgers, I would imagine, again, I'm not going to report this, but I think most folks believe he'll be a Steeler. And in terms of Russ's case, given that his relationship, as it's been explained to me, is not what it once was with Mike Tomlin, it's possible that he's a Giant. I've never really bought into, for what it's worth, the idea that Rodgers would be a Viking. It's not that say it wouldn't happen. I just don't think it's a super strong possibility.
Jordan, last one for you, and it's this. Who's done the best job the last couple of weeks in the NFL? Who are your winners, and are the Patriots one of them?
I mean, the Patriots roster is a lot better. They are one of them. I think they've done a really good job. I like what the Raiders did. I mean, the Raiders went out and they learned that Geno Smith requested a trade Thursday night and then made a trade Friday night, reuniting him with Pete Carroll. I thought that was a great move. Even someone like the Chiefs, who didn't have a lot of money to spend, recognized that they needed to get a left tackle. They went out and got Jalen Moore in the mid-teens for a 2-year deal. I like that move. The Jets, for example, getting Justin Fields, they basically can get out after 1 year. It's a 2-year deal worth $40. They can get out after 1 year. I thought that was a good move. And then even Seattle, I thought they should have kept Geno. But if you look at the structure of the Darnold trade, or essentially Darnold free agency pickup, he also has an out after 1. So some of these contracts that you looked at first and you weren't really sure the structure, then you examined it, you think, okay, well, now I understand why. But those 4 or 5, New England should be grouped in, and I thought did a really good job.
Jordan Schultz, Fox Sports. Appreciate the time as always.
My pleasure, guys. Have a good day.
All right, thanks, Jordan. Jordan Schultz with us here on Zolak and Bertrand with some of the latest on free agency.
Hey, if you like that clip, check out more videos from Zolak and Bertrand right here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.